There, looks like we're ready. Welcome, Council. There's a few people that are to join us. I regret that Councillor Vink is having technical issues tonight and he will not be with us, but we certainly extend our best wishes to him and look forward to seeing him again. We'll call the meeting to order at 7 o'clock. This evening's meeting is being held as a virtual meeting due to the declared emergency. The meeting may be streamed live as well as recorded and published on the Southwest Middlesex YouTube channel. Council, we begin this gathering by acknowledging that the land upon which we meet is the traditional territory of First Nations people. We convey our respect and thank them for their contributions to our culture, community, and our past and future partnerships. I'll call for any disclosure of pecuniary interest. Is there any member of council declaring a pecuniary interest or the general nature thereof? Yes, Councillor Bartlett.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a conflict with 7A. It's the zoning for 196 McCrae Street.
Okay, 7A. We'll keep that in mind. Thank you very much for declaring that. And that may be asked in our Committee of Adjustment meeting as well, under the protocol, Doug. So I'll make mention of it there as well. Any other declaration? Seeing none.
Nope, I raised my hand.
Oh, did you? I'm sorry, I didn't see it there. Okay, yes, Councillor Cowell, go ahead. Your conflict?
Yeah. 5C, vouchers, voucher item 045170.
Okay. And we got that. All right. And that voucher number again, can you repeat that? Have you got it handy there, Krista? 5C 445.
Sorry, I muted and you couldn't hear me. 45170.
Got it. Thank you. All righty. Last call for conflict. The two we've noticed, and thank you very much, Councillor Bartlett, Councillor Cowell. Additions to agenda, the regular agenda of council meeting dated November 24th. It's recommended that it be accepted. Any errors or additions? I see no hands. I'll entertain a mover and a seconder for that, please. Councillor Bartlett has moved it. Is there a seconder? Councillor McGill. Any questions? All in favor? Carried. Delegations. We have something to celebrate and feel sad about. At the same time, I understand that Rob Cole is retiring his position from the fire department. Is Rob with us, Jill? I see him down in my corner of my screen. Rob, how are you, Rob? Unmute and Gary, we have Gary with us. Yeah, Rob and Gary, if you could unmute yourself, it would be great. And we'll give you a minute to find that. Gary, I see that you're almost ready to go. Rob, if you could hit your microphone. Rob, I think you're with us now.
Yep, I'm here.
Good. And Gary, you are as well?
I am. Thank you.
Good. Thank you. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much for coming to our meeting tonight. Rob, particularly you, when I heard that you had decided to step away from the fire department, I was both pleased that you're going to take a well-deserved rest, but I was sad that the department will lose you. You've been truly, you have given your municipality a gift of leadership over a very extended period of time. And Rob, I must say that sacrifice is not only yours, Rob, it's your family's as well, because I'm sure every time that siren goes, your family are part of the call as well when they remain at home. On behalf of council, staff, and the Southwest Middlesex community, we thank you immensely for the protection that you've given us, and we wish you all the best on your road ahead. I know there'll be lots of avenues that you can spend that time that you dedicated to our fire department with passions that you enjoy, and you certainly are deserving of that. And Gary, I'm pleased you are here. In addition, I thank Gary for stepping up to the plate and assuming his new position. Gary, we wish you well on your administrative journey with your new position and wish you safety and satisfaction in all the things that you do. I extend the regret of Chief Sewell for not being with us tonight. Something came up, he was unable to attend, but he certainly conveys well wishes to both of you as well. And before we leave this, if I could hand it over to Jill to say a few words, I'd really appreciate it. Jill, you go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Mayhew. Yeah, I really do want to echo what you have acknowledged, that these are a couple of folks who really give a lot of themselves, and we will definitely miss Rob Cole with the hat of Deputy Fire Chief for the station in Glencoe. He has contributed a lot. I have seen that in the short time I have been with the municipality, and really want to commend him and thank him. And I agree, acknowledge his family and the commitment that it takes on their part as well to have their loved one step in and help those within the community. So hats off to you, Rob and Gary. I think that's just wonderful that you're willing to step up and take on this new role and challenge. And I'm sure you'll be still having lots of chats with Rob, bending his ear once in a while, but we have no doubt that you're going to be able to step into those shoes and really help the department move forward. So I thank you both. I know that there is going to be additional recognition for service in the future with your entire team, but I'm so pleased you were both able to be here tonight to be acknowledged, because it is an important job that you both do in our community and have done in the past. So I want to thank you.
Thank you. Thank you both.
Thank you, Rob. We're going to miss you. You take care of yourself.
Can I
Oh,
just have just a quick few words
love
I
to.
would
Rob,
love to share.
Take all the time you want, Rob.
Thanks, Mayor Mayhew. Just would like to take this opportunity to thank everyone for their encouragement and support over the past 35 years, especially my wife, Becky, and my two daughters, Kaylin and Kylie. It has been a pleasure and an honor to serve the community and work with such a great group of men and women over the years to keep this community safe and make it a better place. I will miss the members, but not the 2 and 3 a.m. pages. I am very proud and confident in the staff that will carry on to perform in my place and handle what will come their way. We have worked hard the last few years training to be ready for the days like this that would come along. I have made it very clear I am retiring, but not leaving. Once a fireman, always a fireman. But only a phone call away for anyone in the department that might need me. I've made that very, very clear. Having said that, congrats to Gary for stepping up and committing to this and taking his next step in leadership within the department. Gary, I know you have the respect of the department and the leadership skills to take and carry on for me. I know you will make me proud. Thanks to all.
Thank you, Rob.
Thanks, Rob.
Great words. Yep. Thank you.
Can I say a few words myself
It'd
here?
be a pleasure. Gary, you go ahead. Take the floor.
Directed to Deputy Chief Cole. Thank you very much for your years of service and your mentorship to put me into this position, Rob. With your support, it's been a fairly easy job to get as far as I am, and I will definitely be reaching out to you to carry on. So happy retirement, Rob. We'll be talking to you lots in the future anyhow, but I do want to thank you for everything. And for council, I look forward to serving for the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary, and gentlemen, best wishes to both of you, and thank you for joining us this evening. It really was special. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Good night. Council, we are on item number 5 of the agenda, the consent agenda. I think what I'll do, there's some items that we can deal with vouchers. We'll take a brief pause and focus on one particular item. The 5A, November 10th, draft council meeting minutes. And again, 5B, November 10th, draft budget minutes. And with regard to 5C, council, I ask that you approve voucher 45170, Municipality of Middlesex Center regarding the building inspection fee of $21,249.89. If I could have a mover and a
So moved.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor. Seconder for that, please. Is there a seconder for that motion? Doug Bartlett, thank you. Discussion, and Councillor Cowell is not voting on this. All in favor? Carried. We can proceed on. The rest of the items in the vouchers, with the exception of 45170. Are there any that you wish pulled out for discussion? Seeing none, we'll move on. 5D, October building report. 5E, St. Clair Conservation Authority. Municipal appointment to the authority. Councillor McGill's has expired, and
Could I just comment on that?
yes,
Mayor
by all
Mayhew?
means, Mark, yes.
Just to, maybe in case anybody had any questions on that. There's 20 people on the board for St. Clair Region Conservation Authority. And the way that the board is structured, Southwest Middlesex gets to appoint a director for 3 years. And then the 4th year, Newberry gets a turn at it. Now, I don't really feel that being on a board for 1 year is particularly good, because they'll just nicely get on to what's going on and their year will be up and they'll be off. So I did offer to Newberry, if they wanted me to, I would continue and represent Newberry and Southwest Middlesex for the 4th year. But they told me they would like to take their turn. So I don't know who's going to be representing Newberry and Southwest Middlesex next year at the St. Clair Region Conservation Authority yet, but I'm sure Newberry will let us know who they pick.
Okay. Thank you, Mark, very much for that. And not only that, thank you for the representation that you have given us over the last 3 years. The Conservation Authority update to November 2021. And 5G is the Ontario. Yes, Councillor Cowell, do you have a question?
Raised my hand too soon.
Okay, Ontario Energy Board Enbridge application. Resolution, the City of Kitchener liquor license sales and patio extensions. Yes, Councillor Cowell.
I'd like to pull that one out, please, so that we can support it later on, please.
Okay, sounds good. And we have resolution, Town of LaSalle, COVID-19 testing requirement. Okay, Council, we have dealt with one voucher separately, and it has been passed. The balance of the vouchers, we're going to pull out 5H. The balance of the consent agenda, may I have a mover and a seconder that they be received? Councillor Cowell, seconder. Councillor McGill. Questions? All in favor? Carried. Council, we have got some planning matters ahead of us. We will break from our regular agenda. The recommendation is that we move into Committee of Adjustment to consider several applications before us. May I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Deputy Mayor Wilkins, Councillor Scholdice, questions? All in favor? Carried. We'll call the Committee of Adjustment together at 7:15. I must ask for disclosure of pecuniary interest, and Councillor Bartlett, we have heard yours. That still stands. Okay. The minutes of the meeting have been circulated. May we have a recommendation that the Committee of Adjustment minutes be received and approved by this committee. Councillor McGill, seconded by Councillor Bartlett. Questions? All in favor? Carried. Stephanie, how are you this evening?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you for joining us. If you would advise the committee of the purpose and effect of the application on 30 McMaster Place, Appin.
Sure can. I'm just going to share my screen. All right. The purpose and effect of the application for minor variance is to seek relief from the Southwest Middlesex zoning bylaw in order to permit the establishment of an accessory building with a maximum floor area of 118.95 square meters or 1,280 square feet, whereas the maximum permitted floor area for an accessory building in the Hamlet residential zone is 100 square meters or 1,076 square feet. The subject lands are 0.23 hectares or about half an acre in size and contain a 136 square meter or 1,464 square foot single detached dwelling. The lands are serviced by municipal water connection and a private septic system and have an existing access off of McMaster Place. The applicant has advised that they wish to construct a detached garage for personal use. The structure is to be proposed to be located approximately 34 meters from the front lot line, 22.5 meters from the rear lot line, and 3 meters from the closest interior side lot line. And it is shown on the map in front of you. Staff have evaluated the application against the 4 tests of a minor variance and are of the opinion that it is considered to be minor in nature, is an appropriate use of the subject lands, and is considered to be consistent with the official plan and zoning bylaw, as a structure will remain smaller in ground floor area and height in comparison to the main use of the subject lands, which is the residential dwelling. Notice of the application has been circulated in accordance to the requirements of the Planning Act, and staff received the following comments. The county engineer noted no comments, and the Southwest Middlesex chief building official has no objections to the proposal. So it is recommended that the application be granted. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie, very much. Following protocol of the application, it's my duty to ask for the applicant's remarks. Are there any? Seeing none, we can move on. Council, it is now our, oh, Jill, do you have a question? Yeah.
Sorry, Mayor Mayhew. I understand that the applicant did attempt to register, but we don't see him yet. So perhaps
Okay.
during the comments recess, he will be able to log in. Okay.
That sounds good. Thank you, Jill, for advising me of that. We will move on to members' remarks. Council, any questions that you wish to put through the chair to Stephanie? I see no hands. Oral submissions from delegates? It appears there are none. There are no written submissions. Council, we have a 5-minute recess, so we will break off at 7:20 and we will reconvene at 7:25. Thank you, Jill. Thank you, Jill, very much for that. With our comment recess over with, it gives the public the opportunity to contact us. Jill, I'll ask again for any written submissions, and we'll go back to oral submissions. Are there any written submissions?
No, there are no written submissions.
Okay. And oral submissions, are there any?
No one registered for this.
Okay. Applicant's final remarks. I will just pause for a moment to make sure we don't miss the applicant. Nothing seems apparent. The committee decision, what is the committee's wish? The recommendation is before you. Without conditions, and I'll entertain a mover and a seconder if someone will support the recommendation. Councillor Scholdice, seconded by Councillor Cowell. Any questions to the planner through the chair? Seeing none, all in favor, please raise your hand. Decision is carried. Stephanie, we're on 4B, 273 Appin Road, Glencoe. If you could advise the committee of the purpose and effect of this application.
I can. All right, so the purpose and effect of this minor variance application is to seek relief from the Southwest Middlesex zoning bylaw in order to permit the establishment of a accessory building with a maximum floor area of 119 square meters or 1,280 square feet, whereas the maximum floor area for an accessory building permitted in the residential first density R1 one zone is 100 square meters or 1,076 square feet, as well as a maximum permitted height of 5.09 meters or 16.7 feet, whereas the maximum height of an accessory building permitted in the residential first density zone is 4.5 meters or 14.7 feet. I am just going to stop sharing and reshare a different image with you. Here we go. So the definition of height within the Southwest Middlesex zoning bylaw in regards to a building with a pitched roof, which is depicted on the right-hand side here, is from the ground to the average level of the roof between the ridge, which is, or the peak, and the eaves, which is shown here on this figure, just for reference. Now I'll reshare my screen again. Here we are. All right, so the subject lands are 0.18 hectares or 0.45 acres in size and contain a 153 square meter or 1,647 square foot single detached dwelling that has a height, as per our definition of the zoning bylaw, of 4.6 meters or 15 feet. The lands are serviced by a municipal water connection and a private septic system and have an existing access off of Appin Road. The applicant has advised that they wish to construct a detached garage for personal use, as well as the storage of a recreational camp trailer. And the structure is proposed to be located approximately 74.7 meters from the front lot line, 1.8 meters from the rear lot line, 4.26 meters from the closest interior side lot line, and it is shown on the map in front of you. Staff are of the opinion that the requested variance to permit a private garage that exceeds the maximum permitted ground floor area of 100 square meters by approximately 19 square meters or 204.5 square feet is considered to be minor in nature, as it's not anticipated to cause any adverse negative impacts to abutting residential or industrial land uses. And while the proposed height exceeds the minimum requirements by 0.59 meters or 1.9 feet, staff do have concerns in regards to the proposed height of the accessory building exceeding the height of the single detached dwelling, as the residential use, being the main use on the subject lands, should be the predominant building in size and height. It is noted that all of the requirements of the accessory building are being met, such as location, setbacks, lot coverage. And in order to address the concern of scale, which both the zoning bylaw and the official plan speak to, staff recommend as a condition of the application that the total height from the ground to the peak of the accessory building shall not exceed that of the dwelling. So it does appear to be subordinate in size, again, maintaining the intent of the official plan and the zoning bylaw for what is considered to be an accessory structure. Notice of the application has been circulated in accordance to the requirements of the Planning Act, and staff received the following comments. County engineer has no comments, and Southwest Middlesex chief building official has no objections. So it is recommended that the application be granted, subject to the following condition, which reads that the total height of the accessory building from ground to peak does not exceed the total height of the single detached dwelling from ground to peak. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie, very much. Following our normal protocol, we're at a point where the applicant is willing to speak on this. David is with us, David McCullough. David, if you could unmute yourself. Find your mute button there. Good, I think you've got it. And welcome, David, to Southwest Middlesex Council. It's good to see you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your time.
Yeah. Yes, certainly. Take the floor, David, if you'd like to apprise council of anything.
Yeah, so just regarding the height, we need to have a 14-foot ceiling, and we do with a 412 roof pitch. It'll be a 19-foot 6 from the ground to the peak. We can do an 18-foot from ground to the peak, but we'll have to go down to a 312 roof pitch. And I would advise not to do that with the steel. They say that when you go down to that flat slope, that steel manufacturers won't warranty your steel, because they say that the snow and the rain does not run off as easy as a 412 pitch. So I'd like to keep the 19-foot 4 to the peak to the ground and still remain 14-foot walls.
Okay. Sounds good. And anything else, David?
No, that's it right now.
Okay, well, thank you very much for providing that information to us. Is that, David, while I have you here, and Stephanie, is that information, I see you have granted the application here, I believe, is it? Yes, that information that David has just given you, is that different than what you were apprised of? Has there been a change of that? Could you clarify that to council?
Through the mayor, no, the information has not changed. The applicant did advise that in light of my concern, there was an opportunity to decrease the height of the roof to 18 feet. Again, that's referring to ground to peak as opposed to height as defined in our accessory building. And I believe, David, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but the last information I received in regards to the height of the house in comparison was 17 feet and 6 inches approximately, again, from ground to peak.
Yeah, we're 17-foot 8 to 18 feet, depending on where we measure.
Okay, thank you,
From
David.
the ground to the peak, yes.
That's good. And It appears in the drawings that the building is a substantial way away, a substantial distance from the house. As well, it appears to be a very deep lot. Okay, thank you for clarifying that, Stephanie, and thank you again, David. At C on the agenda here, the members' remarks. The members, do you have any questions you'd like to pose to Stephanie or David while we have them here, Council? Yes, go ahead, Councillor Cowell.
Through the chair to the applicant, what is the desired height of the accessory building that you would like?
From the ground to the peak, we would like 19 feet 4 inches. And that's roughly 16 inches above our house.
Thank you.
Okay, Stephanie, you're still on board to grant this application then? Your recommendation?
So through the mayor, from my understanding, what the applicant is requesting is for the accessory building to be permitted to be larger in height, total height, than the dwelling. So I would not be in support of that application or that request. The way that I am able to support the application from a planning perspective, again, is if that condition is in place, that the accessory building remains subordinate in size to the main use on the property, which is the residential dwelling.
And you don't regard that as being a minor variance, the height of 19.4, right? It goes beyond the classification of being minor.
Through the mayor, again, the actual variance that's being requested is in regards to the height, which is measured from the ground to the mid average level between the eaves and the peak. So the variance requested is 0.59 meters or 1.9 feet. However, in evaluating an accessory building, the policies direction within both the official plan and the definition of an accessory building within the zoning bylaw speak to that the structure has to be incidental, subordinate in size to the main use on the property in order to be classified as an accessory building.
Okay, all right. David, no more responses to that comment from our planner?
Just a little clarification. In our neighborhood, there's a few buildings that are built that are quite taller than the residential homes. And I'm just confused at why it'd be such a hiccup to have the house not have the shop higher than the house. I'm just kind of concerned with that. There's a few shops on our street that are taller than houses, and there does seem to be a problem. With our shop here, it's not going to be like obstructing anybody's view, so I'm just have a question on that, I guess.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much for taking the time on that. I know we dwelt on that, but I wanted to make sure there was a clear understanding to council. Members' remarks. This is an opportunity for council to continue asking any other questions.
Mark had his hand up before.
Okay, Mark, I missed that. Where are you, Mark? Okay, see you now, Mark. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I think I'm okay now. I was just thinking about, there's gonna be a new subdivision in behind where this is going, right? Eventually. But I don't know how that, this building will be a long ways from the McCullough's house, but it might actually be closer to houses that are built in the future. Is that not correct?
Jill or Stephanie can mention that. I'm not sure what the zoning is. I think that's still agra zoning on that, but I could be wrong, or holding, or Stephanie, can you clarify that?
Through the mayor to the councillor, staff don't have any concerns with the location of the proposed structure. It is meeting the required setbacks for the residential first density zone. But you are correct. We did have an information meeting for a draft plan of subdivision on the subject lands abutting this property.
Okay. Thank you, Steph. Mark, any follow-ups?
No, although I agree with Dave that there's other buildings that are quite a bit taller. For example, the apartment building right next to the McCulloughs, I believe would be higher than the 19.4 feet.
Yep. Okay, council, any other questions you wish to direct through the chair to David or Stephanie? Seeing none. Jill, are there any oral submissions or written submissions?
No.
Okay, thank you very much. None are being contested. We have a comment recess at this point in time to allow the public an opportunity to weigh in. It's 7:42. We will reconvene at 7:47. Thank you, Jill, and staff, applicant, and council. Jill, have there been any other submissions from other participants?
No one's registered.
Thank you very much. At this point in time, it's my duty, Derek, to ask if you have any other final remarks, if you're still with us. David? I don't see him. David, if you're still there, any further remarks? It's just protocol that I ask you, Dave. You're okay? Yeah, you're okay. No further remarks, David? Not sure if we lost him or he's having technical difficulty there. Yeah. Doesn't appear so. Council, it's in your hands, the decision at this point in time. Yes, Councillor Cowell, your wish?
I would like to move the recommendation with the following condition: that the total height of the accessory building from ground to peak does not exceed the 19 feet, 0.4 inches as requested by the applicant.
Okay, is there a seconder for that? Councillor Scholdice, I believe, Michael, you had your hand up there. Thank you. Committee, is there any discussion on this? And last call for questions or discussion again. The chair will call the motion that's been put forth. All in favor, please raise your hand. Carried unanimously. Well, thank you very much, Stephanie, for that. And thank you, David. And that was, of course, conditional upon that one condition not to exceed 19.4. 4C has been withdrawn, committee, and we will can bypass that. And we will be into 4D. Steph, can you advise us of the purpose and effect of this application, B12?
I can. So the purpose and effect of the application for consent is to sever a parcel of land known municipally as 196 McCrae Street in order to create 4 residential building lots, 3 severed and 1 retained, with access proposed from McCrae Street and on full municipal services within the settlement area of Glencoe. Parcels 1 and 2, oh good, they are labeled on your screen towards the bottom here, are proposed to contain each a unit of a semi-detached dwelling, and parcels 3 and 4 are proposed to contain a single detached dwelling. The subject lands are approximately 0.5 acres in size, and as per MPAC data, contains an existing 243 square meters or 2,614 square foot dwelling that is to remain on the retained lands, which can be seen on the screen in front of you, and a garage and a shed that are proposed to be removed, and again are shown with big X's through them on the screen in front of you. The subject lands have existing access off of McCrae Street and Elizabeth Street and are fully serviced with municipal connections. And surrounding land uses are predominantly residential, industrial, and commercial in nature. Staff are of the opinion that the proposed severance application to create 3 severed lots and 1 retained lot for residential purposes is consistent with the provincial policy statement and the county and Southwest Middlesex official plans, provided the conditions are implemented, as the proposal is located within a settlement area with access to full municipal services, which is encouraged within the policy documents. Staff have evaluated the proposal against the low density development and small lot development criteria within the Southwest Middlesex official plan, and are of the opinion that the proposal will maintain adequate space between the houses and will not be out of character with the surrounding residential uses. It is noted that one of the criteria for low density development within the official plan is to ensure an appropriate and effective buffering from adjacent non-residential uses, as the subject lands are located in close proximity to both CN Rail as well as industrially designated and zoned lands. Staff have recommended as a condition of the application that an engineering report be provided that addresses no noise, odor, and vibration as per the province's D6 series guidelines. Additionally, staff recommends that a holding provision be placed on the subject lands to address any mitigation measures needed, if applicable, prior to development occurring. Staff have evaluated the concept plan that was submitted as part of the application against the requirements of the zoning bylaw. Staff have concerns in regards to the proposed driveway on parcel 3 as labeled on this drawing in front of you, being located within the site visibility triangle, and have recommended as a condition that the driveway be relocated outside of this area so there's no parked cars, and to ensure good sightline visibility is maintained. Staff also require confirmation that the required 30% landscape area is being maintained on each parcel, again, which can be addressed through the conditions. I will speak to the zoning application in more detail when we rejoin as a group for council, but overall, staff are in the proposed consent subject to conditions, as it does appear to be consistent with the policy documents. The notice of the application has been circulated in accordance to the requirements of the Planning Act, and staff received the following comments. CN Rail encourages the municipality to pursue the implementation of the following criteria as conditions of an eventual project approval. So number 1 being the implementation of the following noise and vibration mitigation measures in the dwellings design and construction. There is a bullet point list including forced air ventilations and other technical issues in order to reduce the impact of the close proximity of the rail. Condition number 2, a standard clause that a warning clause, again, that dwelling is located in close proximity to CN Rail. And number 3, that the owner shall be required to grant CN an environmental easement for operational noise and vibration emissions registered against the subject property in favor of CN. The Lower Thames Valley Conservation Authority generally had no objections to the proposal. The Southwest Middlesex Chief Building Official had no objection, but did recommend the following conditions: that the existing dwelling at 196 McCrae be renumbered. Please provide lot grading plan from qualified engineer showing building swales, required grades on the subject land to ensure correct grading. Municipal service stubs to be installed to each property line prior to the stamping of the deed. That the hydro service at 196 be relocated, and confirm that the water service to 196 McCrae fronts the property. Hydro 1 noted no comments or concerns. And at the time of writing the report, staff did not receive any comments from the public. However, subsequent to writing the report, a member of the public did submit a comment, which I believe will be addressed through the written submissions portion of this meeting. So it is recommended that the consent application be granted, subject to the conditions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Stephanie. At this point, the applicant or their agent may speak. I'm looking at my screen, Jill, and do we have anyone present?
So Laverne Kirkness is available to speak on behalf of the application.
Okay. Laverne, if you would like to take the floor, the chair would be pleased to give it to you.
Thank you very much. I presume everybody can hear me.
Yes, very well.
I would turn on my camera if I could find it. Or am I already on?
Nope, you're in the dark. That's
Uh,
all right. We can hear you.
You can hear me, but you can't see me.
I can hear you, but I can't see you. Yep.
Okay, here we.
Just look for a little video, or go up and video on.
Okay, I think I'm here now.
There you go. I got you. There you are. How are you this evening?
Okay, well, just great, and thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, council members, Jill and Stephanie. Stephanie's report is very thorough. Of course, I'm Laverne Kirkness. I used to be of Kirkness Consulting, but joined a firm called SWM or Strick Baldinelli, and kind of are attempting to build a planning division for their fairly large engineering company, kind of a homegrown one in London, Ontario. Here, about 100 employees now. It's been it's very busy. But Marco DeMello and KLM has been a long-standing client of SBM for engineering purposes, and he's asked me to help out with his planning here. And appreciate Stephanie's thorough report, both writing and in presenting. I haven't really anything to add other than the observation that this kind of thing is happening because there's such a high housing demand here in the region. It's happening in large urban centers, small urban centers, where these pieces of land that are looked upon really now by the land use planning policy framework, be it the PPS, the county plan, the local plan, as being kind of underutilized, being kind of extravagant and not an efficient use of land in their present state. So Marco KLM is kind of looking at that as an opportunity, and he's proposing to build a semi-detached and a single, of which most those housing forms are looked upon as being compatible in the same neighborhood, and in fact offering up a contribution to kind of having a rich mixture of housing in a neighborhood. What's before you is basically what has been surveyed out and what he would like to do. The semi's likely to be a 2-story building. Might be a little smaller in terms of footprint, so we certainly maintain that 30% landscaped open space. We'll have to rejig the corner one to make sure that driveway is not on the site triangle. But basically, we've reviewed the staff's planning report. We agree with the conditions of the consent. We know there's a lot of work to do there. It's not just having proper housing design and not just having engineering reports, but this D6 report dealing with noise and air quality we'll have to do, and we're accustomed to doing that now. We don't do them, but we know firms that do them. The D6 report based on guidelines from the Ministry of Environment, Conservation and Parks, and we also of course, we'll have to ensure that the building design accommodates what we need to meet the requirements of being so close to the railway. So, and there's other things that we have to do as well that Stephanie has kind of generally referred to. But basically, we're in agreement with the staff report, and we had asked council and or at least the Committee of Adjustment to please grant the application as presented in the staff report. Thank you very much. I'm here for questions.
Thank you, Laverne. We are at members' remarks. Committee, please direct your questions through the chair to Laverne or Stephanie. Deputy Mayor Wilkins, go ahead, please.
Thank you very much, Mayor Mayhew. I'm wondering if Stephanie could repeat her concern for the laneway on, I believe she said it was lot 3. She froze out and I didn't hear a word she said during that. I'm not sure if I'm the only one or not, but sorry, Stephanie.
That's all right. Through the mayor to the councillor. Are you able to hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Yep.
So on your screen before you again is a a draft reference plan for the proposal, parcel 3 on the corner here. The applicant has identified what is called a site visibility triangle as required within our zoning bylaw to prevent any buildings or structures to be located in this area for site visibility purposes for traffic going around the corner. So staff did advise that the driveway and subsequently a parked vehicle should not be located in this triangle, again, to be promote road safety and maintain that visibility around the corner.
Good. Thank you, Stephanie. and
Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Committee members, any further questions you'd like to direct to Laverne or Stephanie? The chair sees none. We'll move on. Oral submissions or written submissions. Jill, have you received any?
We have no registered delegates, but I do have a written submission.
Okay, if you could be kind enough to read it to the committee.
Sure. So this is from Tracy and Barry Harris of 195 McRae Street. Ladies and gentlemen, a few points that need to be considered. New driveway entrances will reduce the number of parking spaces on the street/block that is already limited due to commercial truck parking that occurs regularly. Concerned about the visual appeal of the neighborhood when jammed houses on top of each other, very little green space after possible construction compared to what is now present. Adding 3 more homes to an overtaxed sewer/storm system will affect drainage of stormwater when we can't currently handle the storms we are experiencing. Squeezing another home closer to the corner, reducing lines of sight from the roadway. Traffic already moves faster than what we consider to be safe. Motorists coming around the corner do not see small animals, people walking, crossing the road, or children walking to school. Stop signs have been suggested, but have fallen on deaf ears. R2 residential second density suggests a townhouse will be built. Is this low income or geared to income housing? Current and or ongoing issues on McRae Street that have not been addressed for years should get attention and be enforced prior to discussing new ideas. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Yeah, thank you, Jill. And Laverne will have, you'll have an opportunity to comment on that in a few moments. Okay, no others. We're at a point at the meeting where we will have a comment recess to see if any other oral submissions from other participants come in. It is 8:05. We will reconvene at 8:10. Thank you, Jill. I think we're ready to go. Jill? Has there been any other participants notify the committee?
No, there have not.
Okay, thank you very much. Laverne, we can now entertain some comment from you. If you could address any concerns that were expressed.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. And yes, certainly the neighbor gave some thought to this letter and made a number of points. Our feeling, though, is that most of the points that are, directly applicable to us, I mean, the speed on the road and that kind of thing, or the turning of the corner and hitting small animals. I mean, it's a standard kind of intersection of two local streets. We can't really deal with those, but all of the other ones, whether it be storm sewers or sight lines, or just trying to look at all these, they're dealt with as conditions in the consent. So, I mean, we have to engineer this site so there be no problem in terms of sanitary or storm or water. We'll have to resolve any issue that we come across in terms of developing that servicing design. There's a mention made of us proposing townhouses, of which we're not. Townhouses are 3 units attached, at least, with private entrances. We have a semi here, and then, of course, the existing dwelling in a single. So as much as attention as I want to pay to these concerns, I think they've been really resolved to the extent through the conditions of what you would be granting. So that would be my submission to you, Mr. Mayor and Council, at least Mr. Chair and committee members.
Okay, thank you. Okay, committee, we are now about to make a decision on this. The planner has made the recommendation that it be granted subject to the 11 conditions approximately that Mr. Kirkness has previously mentioned and Stephanie has explained. What's council's wish?
So moved, Mayor Mayhew.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, for doing that. And is there a seconder? Is there a seconder for this? Councilor McGill, thank you. Questions through the chair to anyone present? Yes, Councilor Scholdice, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. This is a question for Laverne, and he just went off the screen.
Oh, yeah.
I don't mean to belabor the point, but on that corner lot with the triangle for the sight line where they can't put the laneway, where will the laneway be going on that lot?
I'm not sure at this point. It either could be going over on Elizabeth, or it could be a single lane shifted slightly away from a single driveway where it's presently located, but outside the triangle. I'm just not sure. We have to rejig that housing design to make sure that we comply with that condition. So I can't really tell you exactly at this point. I'm sorry.
Okay.
We just know that.
Yeah.
We do know we do have a couple of options anyway.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you, Councilor Scholdice. Are there any further questions? We have a mover and a seconder that this application be granted subject to the 11 conditions as the planner is documented. Last call for questions. I'll ask those in favor of the motion to please raise their hand. Carried. Future meetings, committee, December 15th, there'll be a committee of adjustment meeting. And the chair will move that we go back during this meeting and we'll move back to our regular agenda. Thank you, Stephanie. Our work's not done yet, though, is it, eh? Council, we're back in our meeting, and we will now deal with the zoning issues as a result of the Committee of Adjustment decisions. Stephanie, can you please represent your report and the recommendations as in 7A?
Yes, thank you. The applicant for 196 McCrae did submit concurrently a rezoning application, which proposes to rezone parcels 1 to 3 from the residential first density zone to the residential second R2 zone in order to facilitate the establishment of the semi-detached dwelling and a single detached dwelling. Additionally, the application seeks to rezone the corner lot of the application to a site-specific R2 zone in order to facilitate the establishment of a single detached dwelling with an exterior side yard setback of 2.67 meters, whereas the exterior side yard setback of the R2 zone is 7.5 meters. As part of the rezoning application, staff note that in regards to the proposed, I'm going to share my screen to better explain this. But in regards to the proposed deficient exterior side yard, and please let me know if I broke up again. Sometimes it takes a minute for my screen sharing to catch up with me. But staff have evaluated it against the abutting properties of Elizabeth Street. And as you can see here, the applicant has also provided a setback of the existing dwellings on Elizabeth Street, and the proposed dwelling is proposed to maintain the existing building line on Elizabeth Street. So staff are of the opinion that that's considered to be an appropriate ask for the site-specific rezoning for that property. Share screening so that you can better hear me.
Yeah.
So the R2 zone permits a wide range of residential uses or rooming house, converted dwelling, duplex, group homes, semi-detached, single detached, 2-unit dwellings. It is noted that the zoning requirements differ based on the dwelling type, and staff have evaluated the requirements against the zoning standards for the proposed semi-detached dwellings and the single detached dwellings, and would not be in support of permitting the other uses in the R2 zone, excluding accessory uses, without further examination. So it's therefore recommended as part of the proposed site-specific R2 zoning that lots 1 and 2 be limited to semi-detached dwelling and accessory uses, and lots 3 and 4 be limited to single detached dwelling as a permitted use. And should future owners of the subject lands wish to alter the use of the dwelling type, a subsequent application would be required for staff's and council's consideration. As mentioned in the committee with the consent application, staff did receive comments from CN. So as a part of the rezoning application, it is recommended that the H8 holding symbol apply to the vacant lots, so the severed lands, so that compatibility issues can be addressed. And additionally, staff recommend a new holding provision, holding provision number 11, again, apply to the vacant parcels as part of the rezoning application, which does require the completion of analysis by an engineer on noise, odor, and vibration as set out in the D6 series guidelines, again, to address any land use compatibility concerns and any required mitigation measures. Staff did circulate the application concurrently with the consent application and did not receive any additional comments through that circulation process. that were specific to the rezoning only, so I won't repeat them. And it is recommended that the zoning bylaw be granted, limited to first and second reading, and that the third reading proceed once the registered plan has been completed. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. The applicant or his agent now has the opportunity to speak regarding this Stephanie's report and the zoning. Laverne, are you still with us? You have an opportunity to speak if you so wish. And if you unmute yourself, thank you, Laverne. Yep. Yes, hello again. And Laverne, if you have any comments, certainly give them at this time.
Very briefly, thank you, Mr. Mayor and council members. And again, Stephanie, in her usual thorough report, I haven't really anything to add other than that we've reviewed it and we understand the approach. It's kind of a belt and braces. You not only get conditions in the consent, but you get holding zones, holding provisions in the zoning bylaw for the same thing. We can accept that, both D6 and the railway constraint as well. We also agreed to reducing the permitted uses in the R2 zone to just the semis. We don't intend to do anything other, and that may give more certainty to the neighborhood that we aren't proposing a rooming house or something like that as much as they may be needed. We're basically proposing a semi-detached and singles that would be owner occupied. So that's fine with us too, and we thank staff and we would ask council to adopt the zoning bylaw as presented in that report.
Okay, thank you, Laverne. Council, any remarks you wish to ask Stephanie or Laverne in this case? Watch for hands. I do not see any. Jill, any oral or written submissions?
So the written submission that you heard as the Committee of Adjustment relates to this in general as well. So from
Okay. Yeah, there's no need to reread that then. We're fine. Once again, Council, we need a 5-minute recess to enable other participants to weigh in on this. It is 8:22. We will reconvene at 8:27. Thank you, Jill. Have there been any comments from other participants, Jill?
No.
Okay, thank you very much. Applicant's final remarks, Laverne, I think you've expressed yourself well, but this is the chair's responsibility to ask if you have any further remarks.
No, I don't, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Council, it's our decision now. The planner has a recommendation before you to accept this and the necessary bylaw. What's your wish? Council, I'm asking for your opinion on the planner's recommendation. Are you in support?
So moved, Mayor Mayhew.
Thank you again, Deputy Mayor. Is there a seconder for that? Councillor McGill. Any questions directed to the planner or to Laverne? Seeing none, I'll call the question. Those in favor of the planner's recommendation with the conditions attached? All opposed? Carried. Some of those hands were difficult to see, Council, but we certainly have a majority. Thank you, Laverne, for your presence. Southwest Middlesex is pleased to entertain you. And Stephanie, thank you very much. You've been a busy public servant.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thanks.
We're on to staff reports. We'll move along now. The first 8A is fire. There is no report. 8B is administration. Jill, you have a report to council to be received for information only. We'd be delighted to have you present that at this time.
Sure. Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. It was a report that we were going to put in the consent agenda. So I really don't want to spend a lot of time on it unless there are questions. Other than to say, I just want to congratulate council and staff on moving so quickly on so very many items where we have a clear focus of trying to get new homes and families in our community. This is building on the strategic agenda established by the two previous councils and built on, or the previous council and built on, and by this council with more specific items to really encourage families. And I think you will be seeing, with the type of applications that we have coming down and the subdivision that's been approved, you're going to see more than 100 new families welcomed into our community in very short order. So I think it's just tremendous, and what council has helped to support and staff have helped to put in place is really helping to lay the table to encourage that growth and support the development in the best way possible for the community. So that's really all I wanted the opportunity to say, but I'm happy to answer any questions that council may have on this report.
Council, we are receiving the report for information. Any questions you'd like to pose to Jill through the chair? I'll entertain a mover and a seconder to receive that for information only. Thank you, Councillor Cowell. Is there a seconder for that, please? Councillor Bartlett, discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Carried. 8C on the agenda is building. There's no report. 8D is finance. We have audit services RFP results. Kristen, could you walk us through this, please?
I sure can. Sorry, I had both cameras turned off. I think each of the three reports is pretty self-explanatory. I don't know if you need me to go through it too much. The audit services, we just went back out to tender. And we partnered up with Adelaide Metcalf, who also was in the market. And we both, we chose together Graham Scott Enns to be our municipal auditor for the next 5 years. So we just need council's endorsement of that.
Okay, we can, are there any questions, Council? Yes, Councilor McGill. Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Mayhew. To Kristen, who is our present auditor? I forget the name of the firm.
Scrimger and Company.
Okay, yep. Any other questions? Then recommendation has been put before you regarding the audit services and the RFP results. We have a mover and a seconder to adopt the first of Kristen's 3 reports. Moved by Councillor Cowell, a seconder. I'm calling for a seconder. Councillor McGill, any questions directed to Kristen through the chair? Seeing none, all in favor of number 1 report? Carried. Kristen, if you could lead us off an investment policy, please.
Sure. This is a first a policy such as this for our municipality, but quite common in the municipal sector. This is in order to direct me, or to allow me, I guess, to invest any idle funds that we have in safe, secure options to make some money for us. I'm not going to run out tomorrow and do that. We've got a lot of projects on the go, but in the event that we do have large amounts of idle funds, it's better to invest than, just set aside in the checking account.
Okay, thank you. It's a standard protocol most municipalities have, and we always are cognizant of the preservation of funds. Council, any questions you'd like to direct to Kristen on the investment policy? I'm looking for hands. I don't see any. The recommendation is that council approves the draft policy as presented. Would someone entertain a motion to that effect? Councilor Bartlett, thank you. Seconder? Calling Councilor Scholdice. Any questions from council? Seeing none, I'll call it. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Kristen, your last report is on reserves and reserve fund policy.
All right. The Municipal Act and financial standards are pretty prescribed on what qualifies as a reserve and reserve fund and how they're to be treated and reflected in our financial statements. This is really just to formalize the process, so the development of reserves, reporting, when we would use them and why we would use them. And I did factor in asset management into this since we had the opportunity to as well. You'll see in the schedules at the end where it lists all of the assets, or I'm sorry, all of the reserves and reserve funds that we have, and aim to set some aside each year. Of course, it's budget dependent, and council obviously approves the budget each year as well. So, but this just gives us a direction. It's not set in stone. It just gives us something to work towards, and kind of formalizes the accounts and the processes that we currently have in place.
Okay, thank you, Kristen. It's a comprehensive report. Council, any questions regarding the reserve and reserve fund policy that Kristen's drafted here. Last call for questions. Seeing none, would the recommendation is before you that council approve the draft reserve and reserve fund policy as presented. Motion, someone to motion that and second that motion, please. Councillor Deputy Mayor Wilkins, and the seconder for that. Councillor Scholdice, thank you, Mike. Questions again? All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed? Okay, carried.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kristen, for that, walking us through that. 8E is operations. There is no report. Greg, good to have you with us anyway. You always add to it.
Yeah. Can I just make a couple brief comments with regards
Sure.
to the Main Street water line?
Yeah, my pleasure.
All right, and thank you, and through you to council, I just want to make a couple comments because we have had some questions for the last couple of days after the asphalt was laid down on the county road or on Main Street in Glencoe. I just let council know that that application is completed at this particular point. And as part of the process that the asphalt was laid, there is a daily testing that goes on to make sure that it meets the specifications within the tender. And following those results, as we went through this, there were on occasion where those results were outside that specification. So we did convene a meeting with the county, with ourselves, with Spreets and Omega, who is the contractor, and went over those particular results. And the plan moving forward is pretty straightforward. We will be doing some further testing in the spring with regards to some core sampling that will be done on that run of asphalt. And those results will then be evaluated by the county and ourselves and the engineer. And if it's determined at that particular point that the actual application of the asphalt did not meet the specification in the tender, then it will be removed and reapplied, and that is part of the tender. That's not going to be an extra for anybody in the municipality. The county will play a huge role in the evaluation of those particular samples, and then certainly our role is to we would be backing the county and working through the actual tender document. So I just wanted to update council on that because we have had a couple questions about that. And the other thing is I'll just make a brief comment with regards to that whole project and have to sort of commend the engineering firm as well as Omega, Rob Cole, who worked directly with the group on how they worked every day and in the sort of biweekly meetings that we have to not infringe on any of the vendors downtown and to work to try to keep those people open and to try to keep patrons the opportunity to visit all the places downtown. And they, that group was successful in coming up with doing connections, in the late evenings and stuff like that at night, so that they didn't disrupt, say the dentist's office that, had patients that had made bookings 3 and 6 months ahead of time and that type of thing. So I just wanted council to know that there was a lot of work put into making sure that the vendors downtown were not disrupted. And it was a big project, and to have all those projects going on at that time, it was just nice to see that group try to keep the downtown open and economic development moving along down there. So thank you for the opportunity to make those comments, Mayor Allen.
Okay, thank you, Greg, very much. Yes, they have a very good job. And yeah, for the benefit of council, the county of Middlesex at the Hyde Park building have their own lab where they do their own asphalt testing. They have ovens there and centrifugal apparatuses to test asphalt, and their own staff they have staff trained to do that. And there is a section right off one of the work bays, the truck bays, where there's a laboratory there, and it comes in very handy to do our own testing on asphalt. Thank you, Greg. Notice the motion. Yes, Mark, go ahead. I see your hand up.
Yep, thank you, Mayor Mayhew. I just had a quick question for Greg while he's here. And I did also hear a lot of good comments about the contractors and about the dancing flag lady too, but
That's good. Yeah.
people are gonna miss her. The sidewalk to the daycare. Now, I see it's being replaced and it really did need to be replaced. But I don't where is the funding coming from that and who's doing that? I don't recall us that coming before council, but I have to admit it really needed doing.
Yeah, it did. There was some urgency there, I think, because those children do have physical activity walking uptown. Greg, can you address Councillor McGill's interest there?
Yeah, and through you, Mary Ellen, I do echo your comments with regards to the, the necessity of getting that done. We were in sort of a little bit of a situation there because we had planned to get that done as part of the sidewalk budget and the sidewalk program, and it didn't happen. So, I need a little time with Kristen to kind of look at the existing budget that we have for downtown and see if we can fit it in there, that type of thing. So it is one of those things that we had to just make happen here because it was critical that we have that complete sidewalk done from that at No Frills all the way down to the daycare. So I will speak with the treasurer and I certainly can get back to Councillor McGill with regards to the answer to that.
Okay, and Mark, you have a follow-up question.
Yeah, so is it the Omega people that are doing it? And is that correct, Greg?
Through you, Mary Ellen, to Councillor McGill. No, it is Falconer that's doing that work. We basically got that pricing through our engineer for the project downtown because we originally had the existing contractor price it, and then I went back on the market with the engineer to get a better pricing for it. So, and we ended up getting a lot better pricing. So that's how Falconer got the job. It was procured through Spreetz and to get that section done. And also there was about 6 or 8 other areas in town that we had to get done for curbs that were replaced, for water line replacements or water problems, etc. And those were also done. So,
and Mark,
I don't know if Jill may want to add something to this too, because she's been involved with the daycare and that type of stuff up that end too. So
by all means, Jill and Mark, I'll get back to you. I see your hand up again. Jill, go ahead if you.
Yeah, sorry, I'm not sure I can answer the question from Councillor McGill right this second, but I certainly the discussion about needing that connection piece to happen was part of the discussion around the downtown and the sidewalk discussion. So I'll work with Greg and Kristen just to have a chat about this. We certainly met with the engineer and identified where works needed to happen, and making sure we got the best price for it as well.
Yeah, I think it was a good call to commence that work. Yes, Mark, go ahead.
Well, sorry, this will be my last one, but I just wondered how we could tie this back into some things we've changed. Like, for example, we're allowing staff now to spend up to $10,000 on things like this without it going before council, providing there's money in a budget somewhere to pay for it. Would that be one of the reasons this work was able to go ahead?
Yeah, it would certainly be a part of it, but I don't want to lose sight of the fact that it was critically needed as well.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah, critically needed, particularly for the safety of children. But yes, that would certainly our changes in our procurement policy will allow the municipality to operate with more efficiently. And Greg, go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, and just a quick one, and through you, Mary Ellen, the other areas that we had sort of piggyback the sidewalk work on were areas that will fall into other categories of the budget operationally, so that if we replaced we had to take a curb out, like we had to take a curb out to replace a new hydrant. I mean, that's going to be charged to water moving forward, and I'll separate that when those bills come in. And sort of echo what Jill said, we'll sit down and give an answer back to council on the funding for that piece of sidewalk as well.
Okay. Thank you, Greg. Jill, thank you as well. Councillor Cowell, go ahead, please.
Thank you. It was my understanding in the planning process for the build of the new daycare that a component of the infrastructure part that Southwest Middlesex was providing included water lines and sidewalks being taken out to the daycare. And perhaps I'm wrong, but I'm quite certain that some of the budget that we received of not quite the $2.7 million, but the aspect of Southwest Middlesex's component was included in that. Side note, did you see how cute they were at the Remembrance Day thing? All the little people in their like carts. They took the sidewalk all the way up to Remembrance Day. Sorry, I'm done.
Okay, got your point. Thank you, Kristen. Okay, and Krista is right. They are cute. All right. Greg, thank you for that. Correspondence and petitions, there's none. Jill, I don't believe there's any unfinished business. On new business, we have 5H to contend with. Krista, you wanted this pulled out and we accommodated you. Would you like to speak to it?
It just talks to the benefit of being able to have patios as part of an eating experience. And while that isn't something specifically that we have in Glencoe, they are talking about how this can help businesses and restaurants recover from the pandemic by making it easier in the future to have patios outside. And I thought, I've eaten on a few of those patios and they're lovely. So I would love to see this for Ontario, because you never know when we might have a business in Glencoe that would benefit from it.
Yep, and I enjoyed reading the correspondence because if the council go back to it, they'll see the investment the municipalities made in it as well. Not just the restaurateurs, the municipality made a significant investment in that. The 5H, the motion will be to endorse 5H from an endorsement from Southwest Middlesex. May I have a mover? Thank you, Councillor Cowell. A seconder for that, please. Councillor McGill. Discussion? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. County Council and conference update.
Mayor Mayhew.
Yes.
Mayor Mayhew, I have something I'd like to bring up under new business.
Okay, all right.
If I might, you
Yep,
and
go
I
ahead.
received an email recently from a teacher at GDHS, and the students and teachers that are involved in the annual CAN drive are concerned that there's going to be another shortfall this year. The high school wasn't able to have the Halloween CAN drive they usually have for collections. The students have tried to organize an in-house CAN drive, but don't believe that they will get to the numbers or volumes that they normally do pre-COVID. And the annual OPP versus student hockey game, of course, won't be hosted again this year either, and they usually collect there. So they are asking whether Southwest Middlesex Council would be interested in making another donation like they did last year to compensate for that shortfall. Mayor Mayhew, you might want to speak to that too. You got the same email.
Yes, I did. Yeah, there has been significant changes because of COVID-19 and that, and it has impacted fundraisers and of that nature. There is concern, and I know that they very often, a lot of those proms and that, and some of those student activities are self-financed. There's no other monies other than what they raise. But council, the information has been put before you. Deputy Mayor, are you making that a motion that council consider it, or?
Mayor Mayhew, I just wondered if there's any extra money left in the budget. Maybe Kristen can answer that. I
Yep.
realize we make the annual donation at Christmas time of $1,000. We've done that for some time. We did top that up to 2,000 last year. And I believe it was because of this request. So I'm just wondering, Kristen, if there is any extra money.
Yes, yes, we do have the room to do the same as we did last year. If council chooses, we did give them 2,000 last year instead of 1,000.
Okay.
I would make that a motion then, Mayor Mayhew, that the $2,000 donation be given again this year as a one-time top up.
Yep.
Thank
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. And as has been acknowledged by Kristen, this is following the format we did last year. Is there a seconder on council for that, please? Yeah, Councillor Bartlett has seconded that. Discussion? All in favor that we give the one-time top up? Motion's carried unanimously. Continuing on, County Council and conference update. There'll be a report on County Council at our next council meeting. I submitted it today. Announcements, Council number 14. Perhaps I'd like to say I want to thank those who attended the Rural School Task Force meeting at the library the other night. There was about, I think, approximately 17 people there, and there were some counselors there. We had the press, two representatives from the press there, and Arlene Morell and Sean Hunt did a very admirable job at conveying the program that was before us. There were a lot of good visual aspects to it and a lot of good engagement from the people. It ran late. There was lots of talk and questions. It went on to approximately 9:30, started at 7. Doug Greycraft was there from the Community School Alliance, and our Deputy Mayor, who is Vice Chair of that, contributed as well. And as Mayor, I was pleased to give opening remarks. So I just wanted to let you know that that was a successful evening. And we're very grateful that we had the venue of the library to do that in. Are there any other announcements? Yes, Councillor Cowell.
There's going to be a tour in Glencoe of the businesses, and it's going to happen Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Check out the Southwest Middlesex a Facebook page to see some of the information. In the mail, our ratepayers received a little bit of information about the tour because there's places that are just not in Glencoe Central. And I wanted to also shout out that there's going to be a night market at the train station on Friday night. It's going to run from 5 until 8 p.m. There's over 20 vendors who have confirmed they're going to be coming, including a few food vendors. Many of the Main Street businesses are staying open late to participate in this night market event. A shout out to Casey Shannon, Amy Choi, Sang Jackson, Christine Bertrand, our own Ashley Parker, and Mary Gay, and the other people who have been helpful in setting this up, especially Public Works and the Rec Department, because they've put up with a lot of emails and phone calls to get this event started to try and bring people downtown to shop local. So Friday night market, there's going to be a campfire and there's going to be some carols being sung. So it's a good time. You should be there.
Good. We'll take it in.
Oh, and economic development. Thank you. Sorry, forgot that. They've been huge. Sheila has put the whole whole weekend. I'm just trying to get you there on Friday night.
Good. That was good. Good sales pitch. All right, last call for announcements. I think we can move on from that. There's no closed session. The bylaws have been put before you. Can I have a motion that the bylaws be adopted as recommended? Mark, thank you. And seconded by Krista. Questions? All in favor? Carried. Future meetings, council, you've got those before you. And Jill will maybe send out an email clarifying those budget meetings, the change in that. And once again, I want to thank staff for all your hard work, and council, thank you for your hard work. We got through quite a bit tonight. And Stephanie as well. We'll adjourn the meeting at 8:56. Thank you.